Jones' philosophy applies here. If you go for the king, you better kill the king. Prigozhin didn't do that. He now is going to be isolated from the 35,000 fighters that have protected him. He's like a snake whose head has been cut off from its body. I don't think he'll last 60, 90 days, frankly, because Putin, at his dark heart, is a never forgive, never forget kind of person. He'll do everything he can to wreak vengeance on Prigozhin.
Yeah, retired four-star Navy Admiral James Stavridis back in June predicting the demise of Wagner head Yevgeny Prigozhin within months. And it appears the admiral was correct, as Russian state media is reporting that a private passenger plane en route from Moscow to St. Petersburg yesterday had Prigozhin on board when it crashed. This video uploaded to social media has been independently geolocated by NBC News. It shows a plane falling to the ground in the same area where Prigozhin's plane reportedly crashed. NBC News has not independently verified Prigozhin was on this plane. Earlier this summer, the Wagner Group, with Prigozhin at the helm, staged an unsuccessful uprising against the Russian government. And, Joe, I still question, was he on that plane? Knowing this man, having read about him, I guess that might be a question.
Well, Julia Yaffe, who knows a little bit about Russia, the way Russians think and the way Russians act. I tweeted this line from her newsletter about this. She said, Prigozhin, it seems, is dead. Yeah. The "it seems," of course, does an awful lot there because
yes, it does.
I agree with you. I mean, you just never know. He's dead if that serves Vladimir Putin's purposes. If having him running around Africa, killing pro-democracy forces undercover serves his purposes, then that's the case too. But at least, Jordan, there's no doubt that he at least wants his enemies, his rivals in Russia, to certainly think, at least, that Prigozhin is dead. And we're not saying he's not. We're just saying we can't trust anything Russian state media says right now. So it's hard to confirm this for sure.
Well, and since the day that Prigozhin attempted this coup, I just assumed, and you heard from so many Russia analysts who know far more than I do, that Prigozhin was dead man walking. And what surprised me was that Putin actually gave him 2 months. And I wonder what was said in the interim that placated Prigozhin to make him feel that he had some modicum of safety, because he still was able to travel around. He could have gone into exile. He had different paths that he could have chosen to have ensured his security, but he felt like staying in the game, and look at what happened.
Yeah, I guess it really too is we now, I think we have the Admiral online now, and we'll let you go to him, Willie. But first, I've got to say, I always was, I won't say I was suspicious about this, but when Vladimir Putin's chef kept attacking Vladimir Putin's military leaders, I just thought, this is an inside game. Putin doesn't want to attack the powers that be in Moscow by himself. So this is an inside game. He's having his chef attack this guy. And then, again, you never know. You never know what's going on. Just like you didn't know what was going on in the Kremlin with the Soviet Union. They had Kremlinologists who were paid a lot of money in Western think tanks to try to figure that out. You don't know what happened here. Who knows? Maybe it is just what it looks like. Maybe he was on that plane, got blown out of the sky. Regardless, Vladimir Putin certainly can't have that guy running around, as the Admiral predicted, people thinking that he could get away with staging a coup against Putin.
And by the way, you were not alone in that suspicion. When the Wagner Group was marching toward Moscow, abruptly stopped, and within a couple of hours, there was a deal struck with another nation to end it. There were some suspicions around experts, among experts on Russia. That happened a little too quickly. Admiral Stavridis is with us now and joins us. Admiral, you called this many times. You said, not long for this world, likely, is Prigozhin. What is your suspicion or what you've heard from your sources around the world about what may have happened yesterday?
Yeah, the only mystery here, I think, Willie, is why did it take so long? When I predicted with our colleague Chuck Todd on Meet the Press that, hey, it's going to be 30, 60, 90 days, I actually thought it would be sooner than that, but I was giving myself a little bit of time. In the end, it reads like a John le Carré novel. And here's the point that really struck me and really chills me. The public nature of this. This was essentially a public execution. You know, who is randomly filming a private jet flying between Moscow and St. Petersburg? They knew roughly when the bomb was going to go off, would be my guess. We have very dramatic footage. You get to kind of imagine the last moments of Yevgeny Prigozhin. And, oh, by the way, presumably surrounded by his closest associates, friends, maybe his family. It's an awful way to die so publicly and then be flashed across the screens of the world. So no real surprise here. It is a marker of how lethal and how deadly and how unscrupulous Vladimir Putin is. Not that we needed any reminder of that.
Admiral, you point out how gory and staged almost for television to remind and show other enemies of Putin what he does when he comes for you. Do you think that Putin feels the need in the aftermath of this coup to dramatically reassert that he is still in power?
Sure, go back and read Machiavelli, The Prince. When you go for the king, you better kill the king. And that's what Prigozhin in the end failed to do. And Putin knew he needed, your point is a good one, Elise, he needed to demonstrate, and pretty quickly as it turns out, who's really running the joint. And I think that even over the last couple of days, you see the BRICS are together, Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, in South Africa having a conference. So Putin is playing to that international audience, and he's also playing to his domestic audience.
Admiral, given the description you gave of the video and sort of giving everybody a front row seat to this execution, I mean, isn't Prigozhin a fairly wily, smart character? I just wonder why he would get on that plane, why he wouldn't have 5 private planes lined up and get on the one. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that that man, knowing his reality, would get on a plane.
I agree. What I'll add to your thought, Mika, is never underestimate the human capacity to decide who got past that one. You know, how many times in all of our lives do we sort of say, boy, I'm going to get by this one? And, oh, by the way, we can see plenty of examples on the national stage of people who think they're going to get away with something. I think Prigozhin thought he had gotten through this. And then final thought here, I think it is also a measure of Putin, how clever he is, his ability to manipulate others, his ability to allow people to think, it's okay. I am going to forgive you. I'm the big one here. I'm the adult in the room. He lets you go down that mental path until your airplane falls out of the sky.